Dear children, in the last class we have seen certain kinds of quadrilaterals. What are they? They are trapezium, kite and parallelogram. And also we have seen different properties, elements of parallelogram as well as properties of a parallelogram. Now we study some more kinds of quadrilaterals. So first, second, third, fourth one. First one trapezium. First trapezium. Second kite. Third parallelograms. Parallelogram. Now fourth one. Rhombus. What is a parallelogram? Parallelogram is a quadrilateral in which both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. Both pairs are parallel. That is, this is a parallelogram. ABCD is a parallelogram. Here both pairs are parallel and equal. Parallel and equal, both pairs. If all the four sides are equal in a parallelogram, if all the four sides are equal, see, if all the four sides are equal, this is equal to this PQRS. PQRS, opposite sides are parallel and equal. Parallel and equal. Parallel and equal. Here also, another pair in a parallelogram, opposite sides are parallel and equal. Opposite sides. In this figure, PQRS, it is also a quadrilateral. Here, both pairs, all the sides are, both pairs of the opposite sides are parallel. Also, all the sides are equal. All the sides are equal. Consider such a parallelogram. Basically, this is a parallelogram, but this parallelogram has one more property. What is it? In a parallelogram, opposite sides are parallel and opposite sides are equal, both ways. But in this figure, one more property is there. What is it? All the sides are equal. So we can say that PQRS is a parallelogram in which all the four sides are equal. Such a parallelogram is called a rhombus. Rhombus. So what is a rhombus? A rhombus is a quadrilateral in which is a parallelogram, basically parallelogram. Parallelogram in which all the four sides are equal. What is a parallelogram? Parallelogram is a quadrilateral in which both pairs of opposite sides are parallel and equal. What is a trapezium? Trapezium is a quadrilateral in which one pair of opposite sides is parallel. One pair of opposite sides parallel. And kite. Kite is a quadrilateral in which adjacent pairs of sides, adjacent sides are equal. Adjacent sides. In a particular way. Two sides. Now rhombus. What are the properties of a parallelogram? We know the fourth property is diagonals of a parallelogram bisect each other. Diagonals of a parallelogram bisect each other. Bisect each other. And we can apply this, or since a rhombus is a parallelogram, it satisfies all the properties of a parallelogram. Basically, this is a parallelogram. Rhombus is also a parallelogram, but rhombus has one more additional property than a parallelogram. So, all the properties of a parallelogram are satisfied by a rhombus. So, that means diagonals of a parallelogram also bisect each other. Diagonals of a parallelogram, because diagonals of a parallelogram bisect each other. Therefore, since a rhombus is basically a parallelogram, its diagonals also bisect each other. But since a rhombus has one more property which is not satisfied by a parallelogram, the diagonals are perpendicular bisectors. They are mutually perpendicular. Here the diagonals are not perpendicular in parallelogram. They bisect each other. That means these two sides, this AM equal to CM, DM equal to BM. Here PM equal to RM, SM equal to QM. Also, angle at the midpoint, 4 angles, 90, 90, 90, 90. That is, the diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular bisectors of each other. So, property of the rhombus, the diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular bisectors of each other. Perpendicular bisectors of each other. Now, fifth quadrilateral, rectangle. Rectangle is also a quadrilateral. Now see, consider ABCD. Angle A 90, angle B 90, angle C 90, angle D 90. All the angles are equal. Opposite sides AB equal to DC. Parallel and equal. This also parallel and equal, another pair. See, opposite sides are parallel and equal. So this is also basically a parallelogram, because in a parallelogram the opposite sides are parallel and equal. So opposite sides are parallel and equal. This the parallelogram. Here also basically ABCD is a parallelogram. Now, what is the major difference between these two figures? Important difference. Here, angle A equal to 90. But in a parallelogram, the angle need not be 90. Any of the angles is not 90. That means angle B also right angle, angle C also right angle, angle D also right angle. So basically ABCD is a parallelogram, because opposite sides are equal, opposite angles are equal, opposite sides are parallel, adjacent angles, sum of adjacent angles, angle A will be equal to angle B equal to angle A, angle A plus angle B equal to 180. That means this is called a rectangle. A rectangle satisfies all the properties of a parallelogram. But as we have seen in the case of rhombus, a rectangle has one more property. What is it? All the angles are right angles. In a parallelogram, so we can say that a rectangle is a parallelogram in which all the angles are right angles. All the angles are right angles. So, what about its diagonal? Only other properties of parallelogram are satisfied by rectangle. Here the diagonals are equal. In a rectangle, diagonals are equal. Diagonals are equal. Also, since this is a parallelogram, the diagonals bisect each other. Diagonals bisect each other. Bisect each other. Then how does a rectangle differ from a parallelogram? A rectangle is a parallelogram in which all the angles are equal, diagonals are also equal, and diagonals bisect each other. AM equal to CM, DM equal to BM. Diagonals. These are AC equal to DB also. AC equal to DB. AC equal to DB. In a parallelogram, the diagonals are of different length. Diagonals are of different length. AC equal to BD. AC and BD are equal, but AC and BD bisect each other. This is the property of a rectangle. Now the sixth one is square. What is a square? Square is a special type of rectangle. All the four sides are equal. If all the four sides of a rectangle are equal, we get a square. All the four sides. Then angles are also equal. So all the properties of a rectangle are satisfied by a square also. But a square has one more property than a rectangle, which is that on all the sides. In a rectangle, opposite sides are equal, parallel and equal. But in a square, all the sides are equal, as in the case of rhombus. All the sides are equal. All the sides are equal. So the diagonals, here the diagonals are equal and diagonals are bisectors of each other. But in a square, the diagonals are equal as well as they are perpendicular bisectors of each other. So diagonals of a square are equal and perpendicular bisectors of each other. Now let us see. Let us see the properties of rhombus, rectangle and square. What is a rhombus? Rhombus is a parallelogram in which all the four sides are equal. So all the properties of parallelogram are satisfied by a rhombus. Since rhombus has one more property than parallelogram, its diagonals are perpendicular bisectors of each other. So diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular bisectors of each other. Now rectangle. Rectangle is also a parallelogram, but in a rectangle, one more property. The rectangle has one more property than parallelogram. All the angles are equal. So the diagonals of a rectangle are equal and bisect each other. Bisect each other. Square is also a rectangle, and square has one more property than rectangle. So all the properties of rectangles or parallelogram are satisfied by a square, but it has one more property. The diagonals are equal. Also, the diagonals are perpendicular bisectors of each other. So in which of these quadrilaterals diagonals are equal? Diagonals are equal in rectangle and square. And in which of these the diagonals are perpendicular bisectors of each other? Rhombus and square. Among these, in which quadrilateral the diagonals bisect each other? Parallelogram, rhombus, rectangle, square. Bisect each other. In rhombus and square, they are perpendicular bisectors of each other. In rectangle and square, the diagonals are equal. In parallelogram and rhombus, diagonals are of different length. So remember all these properties. So kinds of quadrilateral, different kinds of quadrilaterals: trapezium, kite, parallelogram, rhombus, rectangle, and square. And see the properties. Now read the textbook pages 52 to 55. Do and study examples 7 and 8. Do the exercise 3.4, questions 1 to 6 of pages 55. Thank you.